Hello dear students, welcome to Bajirao Ias Academy interview guidance program. So in this lecture we are going to discuss about the recent Red Sea crisis, right? So the Red Sea crisis has has linkages with recent Hamas attack. Okay, so recent Hamas attack on Israel and Middle East volatility. Now generally Red Sea and the Arabian Sea has the piracy related instances, and maritime safety is very important in Red Sea and the Arabian Sea. So therefore in this context, recently there were instances of commercial ships being attacked by Houthi rebels. So we all know that Yemen has been facing civil war like situation. So Iran backed Houthi rebels have taken control of the large parts of Yemen. So recently they have also started attacking the commercial ships, so thereby disrupting the commercial shipping in the Red Sea and the Arabian Sea. So in this context, it has been disrupting global trade. It has also leading to the supply chain resilience, and now major countries like UK, US have started bombing Yemen, parts of Yemen. And similar to that, India is traditionally known as net security provider in the region. Since India is known as net security provider in the region, India has also deployed vessels. Okay, India has also deployed its navy to conduct anti-piracy operations and protect the ships from the piracy and attacks from the Houthi rebels. So therefore in this context we will understand what exactly is the issue, right? So why Houthi rebels have started attacking the ships in the Arabian Sea and Red Sea, and why the Red Sea is very important, why the Suez Canal is very crucial, and what is the role of India and how it has impacted the global trade. So these are the broad dimensions that we are going to understand in this lecture. Okay, so firstly, understand the recent instances. So recently there was an attack on ships in the Red Sea trade route. So I hope you all know the Red Sea. Okay, so Red Sea is the narrow sea between the Mediterranean Sea and the Arabian Sea or the Indian Ocean, right? So Red Sea connects with the Mediterranean Sea with a canal called Suez Canal. Okay, so around 30 to 40% of the global shipping passes through the Red Sea, and it is also a location where there's a lot of instability, lot of violence, which also directly impacts the maritime trade routes and maritime shipping. Okay, so there were attacks on the ships in the Red Sea trade route, and the ongoing drought problem at the Panama Canal, since because there's a drought in the Panama Canal, so that also has a lot of issues with respect to maritime shipping. So they have raised worries about the global trade disruptions. Okay, so these things have raised concerns, worries with respect to the global trade disruptions. Now in this context we need to understand what are the key issues in the Red Sea and Panama Canal presently. So most importantly, we need to understand about the issues in the Red Sea. Okay, so a chemical tanker called MV Chem Pluto, so that was struck by a drone attack and approximately 200 nautical miles off Gujarat's coast. Okay, so this was the first instance which is related to the attack on ships which are passing through Red Sea. Okay, so MV Chem Pluto is actually a Liberia flagged, Japanese owned and Netherlands operated chemical tanker. Okay, so this is a chemical tanker, and it had started its journey carrying crude oil from Al Jubail, Saudi Arabia, and it was expected to arrive New Mangalore, India. Okay, so this is actually a India bound ship, right? So this is an India bound ship heading towards India. Now the alleged involved entity in the drone attack of MV Chem Pluto, So it is believed to have been carried out by Houthi rebels based in Yemen. So Houthi rebels based in Yemen. So they actually citing protest against Israel's actions in Gaza. Okay, so in protest against Israel's actions in Gaza, they have attacked MV Chem Pluto that is bound to India. Okay, so since India bound ships are also being attacked, anti-piracy, the piracy is being increased in the Arabian Sea. So all these factors have a lot of concern for India, since it is known as the net security provider. So these Houthi rebels are also engaged in a decade-long civil conflict with Yemen's government. Okay, so as I have already told you, there's a civil war-like situation in Yemen. So these same Houthi rebels have engaged in a civil war, like a civil strife with the Yemen's government since very long. So in this context, what will be its impact on India? We need to understand its impact on India. So concerns will arise for Indian oil importers and exporters, key commodities like basmati and tea. Now, so if there are continued attacks on ships which are bound to India, so which particularly carrying crude oil, so then that will significantly increase the crude oil costs, and it will also have a lot of effect in terms of inflation on the Indian economy, and that ultimately impacts economic growth. Okay, so since there's a disruption in critical trade routes, that could have a significant impact on India, so the negative impact on India. So disruption in Red Sea trade route could increase Indian agriculture product prices by at least 10 to 20%. So particularly if we export rice, tea to other countries, and disruptions in the Red Sea could increase those prices. Okay, so increasing those prices means there will be less demand for those products. Okay, so this is what we have to keep in mind. And at the same time, since there were attacks on the Red Sea trade route, the ships have to reroute from the Cape of Good Hope to the Europe and US. Okay, so this is what the concern is. And in this context, it is very important for us to locate the Red Sea. Okay, so this is the Arabian Sea, and south to Arabian Sea is Indian Ocean, and this is Red Sea. Okay, so this is what is Red Sea. And also identify the countries which shares its borders with the Red Sea. Okay, so this is Yemen, and the Houthi rebels are located in the Yemen. And apart from that, this is Mediterranean Sea, and this is Suez Canal, and this Suez Canal links the Mediterranean Sea with the Red Sea. Okay, so Red Sea is very often in news. And this is Israel, Lebanon, Jordan. So location of all these countries and important straits in this region is very important for the prelims examination. So go through it if you have a map. Now we need to understand the impact of Red Sea crisis. So what exactly the real impact of the Red Sea crisis in this context? Now earlier, ships used to pass from the Arabian Sea, Red Sea, Suez Canal, Mediterranean Sea, Europe and US. So if there are piracy like instances, and if increased attacks of Houthi based rebels on ships which are passing through the Red Sea and the Arabian Sea, then they have to change, or they have to reroute from the Cape of Good Hope to reach Europe and South America, North America, right? So this will cost a lot for the exports. Okay, so this makes exports very costly. So because of this reason, the war risk premiums higher by around 10 to 15 lakh. So this will particularly increase the premiums. So there's for example Asian premium when we talk about the import of crude oil. Similar to, there are also war risk premiums, and they will increase by around 10 to 15 lakh. So apart from that, over 30% increase in the container freight rates as well. So if we import anything or export anything, so ultimately this causes a lot of trade disruptions. So average 2 week increase in the shipping time. Okay, so overall there's a 2 week increase in the shipping time. So about 20% of India's exports pass through the Red Sea Suez route. So this is Red Sea Suez route, and around 20% of the Indian exports, total Indian exports, passes through this trade route. So 10 navies come together to address the security challenges in the southern Red Sea, and Indian Navy is one of the prominent among them, which has quickly deployed its naval forces in the Mediterranean, in the Red Sea, in order to thwart any attempts of attacks on ships, as well as conduct anti-piracy operations. So if you look at the alternative route to the Red Sea, Suez Canal, Mediterranean route, there's also an alternative route. So that is the Cape of Good Hope. So this is southernmost part of Africa, and the Cape of Good Hope joining Eastern Asia and Europe through the southern parts of Africa. So this is alternative route. However, this costs a lot of time and money. So this is the larger impact of disruptions or attacks on ships in the Red Sea. So after that, we need to talk about the significance of maritime transport in global trade. So what is its significance in the global trade? So unrivaled volume and value carrier. So in fact, if you look at the maritime transport, it shoulders around 80% of the global trade by volume, over 70% by value. Okay, so there's a huge volume and value which is being carried out through the maritime shipping. Okay, so this is as per the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. Okay, so as of 2019, the total value of annual world shipping trade had reached around 14 million US dollars. So the annual total value of the maritime shipping is 14 trillion US dollars. So in this context, what are the environmental considerations which are involved into this? So shipping actually contributes to around 3% of the global greenhouse gas emissions. Okay, so shipping also contributes to the greenhouse gas emissions, and even the spread of alien species is also possible through the global shipping. So it has relatively more fuel efficient and emits less per ton of cargo transported compared to other modes of transportation like air freight. Okay, so these are the positive when we talk about the impact of of maritime shipping on the environment. Okay, so they have less impact on the environment. So after that, the energy transportation, particularly the crude oil. So crude oil is also being transported from Middle East, Russia to other energy starved countries. So the majority of the world's energy resources such as oil, natural gas, so they are being transported through sea. So tankers usually carry these resources from production areas to consuming regions, playing a critical role in the meeting global energy demands. Okay, so this is the significance of the maritime trade route or maritime shipping for the global trade. Now in this context, what measures should India adopt to reduce the vulnerability to these issues? So firstly, we need to talk about joint maritime exercises or maritime initiatives that have to be conducted. For example, there should be a collaborative frameworks with other like-minded countries in the Red Sea region. For example, UAE, Yemen, Saudi Arabia and Egypt. Okay, so that particularly involves intelligence sharing, coordinated patrols, joint naval exercises, military exercises, and that particularly aimed at preventing any piracy related instances, as well as the targeted attacks on the shippings. And secondly, we need to talk about deploying advanced surveillance systems. So there should be integrated radar, drone surveillance systems along with India's western coastline. Right, so that makes early detection and response capabilities. So India can develop the capabilities to respond early and further strengthen its existing capabilities to prevent such attacks on ships, India bound ships or any other ships. So therefore India could retain its role as a net security provider in the region. Okay, so negotiate preferential access. So engage with Panama Canal authorities to explore the preferential passage of Indian vessels or potential toll discounts for specific routes. So these are the other options, the minor options that we can explore. Okay, so I hope you understood the importance, the significance of global shipping, and what India needs to be done, and what is its impact when there are more and more attacks on Red Sea trade routes. So what exactly is the issue, why they are being attacked, and what is India's response, everything. So that's all for this lecture. Thank you.